building an entire AF16 in a few hours. Let's get it. Got the entire front case off. Everything's looking fine in here, but in the case, the gear was going crazy, shearing off the metal in there, but the gear itself still looks fine. So we're gonna run it still, but I'm just gonna take everything apart a little deeper here and then start installing all of those parts in that box. As you can see, the rollers are pretty messed up and the restrictor plate was already off, which is good for top end power, but with these rollers being like this, it is definitely not going to perform as well. But we are replacing the entire variator kit anyways, so this stuff is basically garbage and we can move on to checking the seal out here. As it looks, it is a little bit wet in there, but we can clean up the surfaces and kind of see what we're dealing with a little better. And I'm gonna get this clutch off as well. All right, so looking at the piston, it actually did have quite a bit of scoring. Got a pretty deep scratch on this side and some blow by going on this entire side. So it's safe to say that the cylinder was probably semi-blown and wasn't holding full compression, but we are doing a 72cc kit swap on this thing, and we're gonna make it look a hell of a lot nicer once again. All right, now that the entire thing is stripped, we went ahead and smacked it once here to get this little opening, and I could just kind of tap the rest of it off from each side, and we can get this crank out of here. Might need two hands for this guy. Swiggle this crank on out, and voila. The bearings were not stuck to the crank, and I don't really think that's a good thing, but it could have been a little walking around in here kind of, but at least it came out nice and easy. And we can throw the fresh new crank in here with the new bearings and seals. Just for the record, I found a small little piece of something in this journal here, which would be right where the piston goes, and I think that is the noise that we were hearing on this thing. I'm gonna try to get that out. And now I actually kind of understand where it came from. Is part of the bearing there. That little bearing shield was part of this, and it came off and went into the oil port hole. So that's pretty crazy. Good thing we're replacing those bearings. Starting to clean up the motor with brake clean. Straight dump and it's coming out nice and easy here. Sweet. Got the bearing and the seal out now. Putting the fresh seal in. Press it in evenly. And then I'm just gonna go get this 17mm socket. Put the back end of it on there. Just tap her down nice and easy. Nice. Next little seal to pop out here, the inside of the case. It's in there pretty good, actually. Pretty dang good. Flip this thing over to its side and maybe get it from the back end. Alright, I'm gonna get this new fresh bearing in here. I'm gonna get another socket to kind of evenly press that in. Alright, so I got the first side of the crank in. Seal is in. I installed the seal and the bearing first onto the case, and then installed the crank with the bigger socket you saw that goes over the splines, just so I could hit it a little bit harder and it would go in more even instead of just hitting on this and messing all this up. So right now I'm gonna put on some RTV for the middle, the head gasket material, as in oil resistant gaskets, and this one I need to install the bearing really quick. I did get the seal on that side already. Alright, so now we've waited the 15 minutes and I went ahead and kind of got this thing put somewhat on there to where we can tighten all these bolts on the inside little by little, and hopefully everything lines up fairly nice. Yep. Seems pretty tight. Just put some of that black RTV Pro Seal gasket on both sides of the case, and now I'm just gonna wait about 10 minutes and then meet them together and put all of the bolts in. Time to throw the piston and the new bearing on the rod. Alright, just got the piston C-clips in on there. Didn't record that, probably. I think I was charging my phone. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw the piston ring on the piston and get the cylinder all sanded up, ready to get on this thing as well. Alright, we got the spark plug and the piston on there. and tightened up to spec. And then right now I'm gonna go ahead and take off the intake after I put the oil plug delete in there so we don't get any dirt in there either. Here's the Polini plug. Just go tap it in there a little bit. So it's flush. And then right back here, there's a little nut that goes in that crevice. And they give you a nice little bolt and washer to crank that down so it doesn't back out. Just torque that down with a 5mm Allen key bolt, just in case if anyone needs the size for the Polini one. We'll just leave all of this together and put this aside because we have the nice new upgraded manifold for this thing, as well as the Polini carb. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just scrape off all of this gasket material from the old manifold, and then we can install the new one with the new paper gasket right here. Alright, so I got the intake manifold fully installed now. It took a little bit with the Allen key bolts because the Allen keys that I have are obviously a little bit longer on the short side, so I can't really get in here too well. So it took me a little while to get those tight, but they're tight now, and what I can do is now start putting together the CVT. So let's get to doing that, and then we can also get the stator and the fan back on there as well. Going ahead and cleaning up the little button here for the stator, and then also these little pads. You want to scuff all these up, as well as the housing here. Scuffed up all those pads as well. Alright, so now we're gonna gap the button on the gauge feeler to make sure we get the exact proper space between this, and that would be a 0.16 or a 0.406mm to go in between this button here. So I'm gonna gauge that and then tighten the bolts up. Got the fan on now. Switching back over to this side, so we're gonna go ahead and install the new performance variator. This thing's already got rollers in it, and they are 7 grams, so those are kind of perfect for what this scooter is going to be built for. And we do have some spares, if I could get these out of here, some 6-gram spares, and there's also some more down there, it looks like. So we got a few sets, but we're going to throw this as is in there with the 7s. Up next, I need to go ahead and replace the clutch spring in here for the upgraded one. So right now I'm gonna mark the nut where it's at and try to match that back up when I throw it back on. Alright, so I got the new contra spring here. Took the old one out, slapped the new one in there, and then take this little ring out of the old one. Just like that, slap that one in there, and then throw the clutch on top. Alright, so I got the case somewhat put on there, and we got the fan shroud on here. We do have to cut a little notch here for the spark plug so the actual spark plug cap can go onto it properly. So I'm going to do that as well as tighten the case on. So now the fan shroud is cut for the spark plug wire, and we got the entire case tightened up. We should be good on this build now, and I think the last thing we really need to do is put the pod filter on the new Polini carburetor. All right, so after taking my time for about 6 hours, we got this entire motor looking nice and complete. Everything should be back in the bike in the next video, so make sure you guys go leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel to see some more cool ass scooter shit. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.